Hey there guys, and welcome to this bonus episode of Gone Home. If you're wondering what a story game has, why a story heavy game has bonus episodes, well, it's because of one thing mainly. Not entirely, but mainly one thing. These things. This game has achievements. At one point, I don't know quite when, I think it was when the console editions were released, which would have been on like PS4, they released this game and updated with achievements, because I remember, I'm pretty sure when I first played this game, they didn't well, definitely not when I first played this game, because otherwise I would have had them when I first played this game back in 2016. So, this game was released in 2014 and didn't have achievement support. It was only on PC. But when it was released on consoles, they updated, at least the Steam version, they updated it to have achievements out as well to go along with the console versions, because obviously Xbox and PlayStation do. So, you can see that I've actually already done most of these, except for these two down here. We'll get to those. But I've actually done most of these, so they won't be appearing. I did them once because they're all fairly easy. You can see exactly when. In fact, I did them all in the span of like a couple hours. But, so basically, for the most part, I'm going to be going through and showing these. Not this one. That's for a different episode. And I should address that. I'll show it in a second. But this game does have a developer commentary mode. That's actually a separate episode. It's already been recorded, but it's getting posted after this. The reason I wanted to record that one first is because if I wanted to bring something up and then the devs talked about it, I didn't just want that to be redundant or to discredit what I was talking about for a while. But if I was like, why is this way? And they were just like, it's this way because so-and-so. That way I can just avoid the problem this time. But that'll be posted after this. But the rest of these, I can show off this episode, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we'll have to start a new game. You can activate some of these. I think I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think I think you can have the stuff on to show the extra stuff, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to start with all lights on, and I'm going to unlock all doors. I'm not going to disable voice diaries. And then if you enable commentary right here, that's what causes those notes to pop up again. That's a different episode. But I'm going to do that because I don't think any of the things here rely on, at least from what I read, rely on no commentary, no nodes to be on. So I'm just going to continue ahead with that. And this intro will start up. You can skip it. There we go. See if the lights are already on. And in fact, yeah, we don't even need to see Christmas stuff right now. So, and while I'm going through these, I'm going to be a little scatterbrained because one, I'm trying to find all these, and and two, I have miscellaneous stuff that I want to talk about. The first achievement I want to show off is, well, not necessarily in sequence. Wet Bandit. Turn on every faucet in the house at once. So you can't turn them, it's not just enough to turn them on, they have to be on at once. Fortunately, there's not that many. In fact, there's 8 in fact. There's one in here. And I'll go on up the stairs, because, yeah, I'll go upstairs. Because there's, like 5 more up here, I think. Oh, actually, what I did might have broken something. I'll have to check, though. No, it's unlock all doors, not necessarily open all doors. So it may still be okay. There's one in here, and you can also turn the tubs on. They're the same faucet model, so I'm assuming that's why it's coded that way. Not just the sinks, but also the tubs. So there's 2 in here. The only issue with this is that you can hear the faucets running for a little while, so after I quote-unquote get the achievement, I'll have to turn them off. And the reason I'm using a guide to figure out the faucets at least is because, again, since I've already gotten the achievement, I wouldn't get any feedback from it. So of course there's the tub up here and then 2 faucets for the parents, so that's 5 total up here, 6 total including the ones I got downstairs. So actually I'll show this off over here. No, it is not. You'll remember there was this little secret passage over there that opened up, and we opened it up from the inside. However, there's a little button right in the corner up here. If you press that, it'll open up that secret passage, which allows you the ability to sequence break this game if need be. There's a number of ways you can sequence break this game, and that's actually part of the speedrunning achievements that were there, but again, I'll get to those. You can just come down through here. In case you're wondering about, well, while I'm here, I might as well show it off. Because I missed it earlier. There was something else I missed, but, you know, it's okay. Back upstairs, I mean. I can cut to it if need be. Right in here. I missed this on my first go-round. This is sort of a diary entry, but it's also sort of not, because it doesn't count towards your thing. It's like a drug. The first time I was in my room in the middle of the night, I woke up and Lonnie was kissing me. The clock said 3:13. Her face... Okay, not reading any more of that. Definitely not reading any more of that. No. I was too slow to read it, but it gets very detailed and very inappropriate very quickly. So that's why, very explicit too. Which is why Sam's not picking it up. Not Sam. Which is why Katie isn't picking it up, because she is not interested in that stuff. The player might be. And in case you're desperate enough to read that stuff, you can pause the video if need be. I'm not going to read it out loud because I don't... It's a little odd to me, especially since she's, what, like 17? That's odd. Come to think of it, what is the age of consent in this state? It's probably 16, because most of the time it's 16 across the US, but it might be different. Anyway, one of the reasons it came down here was because, in case you're wondering about this faucet, it does not turn on, so it does not count. But while I'm down here, I might as well mention this thing too. There's another achievement, Intuitive. Guess the combination to Oscar's safe before finding the code. Also, this old house, that's the one we just got by opening the secret bookshelf. So right now we're about 2 for 2. So basically, this is Oscar's safe. If you open it up without finding that code, which is right at the top of the secret passage that we came through, then you get that achievement. I accidentally showed this off in the main game because I forgot there was a note. Good thing I already got the achievement. Oh, it's already unlocked. Well, it's 1963 anyways. That's how it would be. So maybe, so yeah, maybe having the unlock all doors achievement didn't count, because these are technically doors, aren't they? So, yeah, my bad. Well, if I didn't have that on, just word of advice, don't play with modifiers on if you're going for achievements. I'm pretty sure I should have done that, but since these aren't counting for achievements, technically it's just speeding along the process. But to get that, you would just enter the code 1963. I do find that interesting because there's plenty of hints to open it up around, not just related to Terry, but also to Oscar, since he does refer to the incident 10 years ago or whatever, even if it's off a little bit. But I just find that they do leave enough clues that I think you could feasibly open that up on your own, even if you didn't find that thing at the top of the safe, or if you didn't remember it being 1963 like I did. But you can do that. Just remember to have the note off to get the achievement. Anyway, on the way back up here. Something, a little piece of trivia I might want to mention is, the band that Lonnie's in, Girl Scout, you might recognize that the other Riot Girl bands, like Heavens to Betsy and, what was it? Bratmobile, those are real bands, and those are actual songs, because I got yes, it was a copyright claim. It wasn't a copyright strike, thank goodness. Because the copyright claim doesn't affect me at all right now. But those are real bands. That's just their actual recordings of the actual songs that were playing. Girl Scout is kinda sorta not a real band. Obviously, since Lonnie's a part of it and Lonnie's a fictional character, they weren't that. I think, however, they are real songs recorded by a real band, a real modern band, I should say. I think, unlike the Riot Girl songs, where the other Riot Girl bands, which are actual bands from the 90s, I think Girl Scout the songs for Girl Scout were performed by a band called the Youngins, which are basically a more modern Riot Girl band. So, I'm not sure if they get credit in this game. They might give a little shout out to the credits. They didn't mention them in the developer commentary, which was surprising to me. I think that's their name, the Youngins. Young, I-N-S. No G, no second G. But, Oh, the faucets. That's what I came over here for. I completely blanked. No working faucets in there, in case you're wondering. There is one in this little bathroom, and there's one in the laundry room. Do that, and you'll get the achievement. And so there's another little thing over here that I want to mention. This time it's in the garage. Where is it? I think it's over here. First, let me grab a little something. Let's grab one of Terry's books. I showed this off in the developer video, but I don't want to spoil it there. That's another reason I want to do this before the developer thing, or post it first. Because the developer commentary spoils a lot of stuff about what would be happening in this game, and I'd rather have it be a bit of a surprise. If you'll notice, Terry's book will line it up with the top right corner of this box here. See? It got thrown. Not very far, but it got thrown. If you grab something out of this recycling bin, however, back up against the wall, line it up with the corner, it gets thrown much farther. In fact, I think, yeah, anything in this recycling bin does. If you look up here, right at the top of here, there's a little thing up there stuck in the rafters. Get that out, and you get a little Nerf basketball. If you've seen a Nerf basketball hoop anywhere, we might be able to put this through it. In case you're wondering, yes, only those items have their reach extended. Everything else basically gets thrown at the same rate, including this ball, I think. But, so only one of those will knock this out of the rafters. Anything else won't be able to reach. I hope I left the door open. Also, while it's on my mind, I was mentioning when I was talking about the Youngins, I'm not sure if those were actual, like, those were songs that they were performing before that, what is it, Role Model. That's the one that Sam had downstairs in the living room, in the den. I'm not sure if that's, like, something that was originally wrote for this song, for this game, or if that was just one of their prior works that they were just like, hey, why don't you let us play it, and we'll change the name. And they're just like, sure. I'm not sure about that. I couldn't find a straight answer on it. But if you close the door, come up to the basketball hoop, and throw it in. I said throw it in.
Meow meow. Meow meow. Meow. Meow meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow.
No, there's two ways you can think about that. That was either really funny because it was a journal entry of just the voice actress for Sam saying meow in a completely serious manner over and over. Plus, meows were remixed with the journal theme, which is hilarious. However, that always struck me as a little creepy, that little secret, because first of all, the lights flicker, and the TV comes back on, and it's just like, wow. And the cats that were shown on screen, those were the pet cats of the developers of this game. I think they say that in the developer commentary, but I want to show that. That's Mitten's secret. Because the implication there is that that's Mitten's ghost haunting the place, which is odd. And, again, very creepy. Because the whole game is, with Oscar's ghost, it's a little ambiguous about whether Oscar's ghost actually exists and roams around the place, but that thing with Mitten really just kind of freaks me out. Also, though at the very least, the recording catching them laughing at the end sort of takes it down a little bit, fortunately, but, like, I don't know, it's just a little discomforting to me. So there's Mitten. Oh, Christmas duck, there's that. That'll be shown. Done that. so I still need to do Christmas Duck. And these two were shown in the series, obviously. Completing the game, you go up to the Letters from Katie journal and do that. And then this one is shown through the main series. You don't have to find all the journals during your first playthrough, a regular playthrough to get that, but it's pretty likely. But you can miss one or two of them. Not many, but you can miss one or two of them and still continue on with the plot. So that's pretty likely to happen during the course of the main game. And I've already shown all the journals. I did verify I did get all the journals. I didn't miss any like I was fearing I would. Except for that, it's a drug note down there. I was searching for that, but again, it's technically not considered a journal entry, even if it's the same formula. Well, it's not voiced over. It's just a note. It's the same sort of note that Sam leaves around like these. But yeah, I don't feel the need to show those off again because they're part of the main series. So I think it's just Christmas Duck now. Which means I need to go to the secret compartment downstairs. First, I need to actually grab Christmas Duck. No, I need to get the key first, because otherwise I'll have to throw Christmas Duck down on the ground. Gotta move out of the way for it to open. Alright, so I have no idea exactly where that cut out or where I'm even going to cut it. Basically, I was just, can we shut Sam up?
The sunset light in this house.
I'm not sure I can.
The saddest thing I've ever seen.
Quiet, Sam.
I just want to sleep.
Anyway.
When I'm in the attic.
No, I'm not supposed to be up here. I'm supposed to get Christmas Duck.
She's just
maybe I should have turned on no diary
pull down the
thing.
hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll.
Is there a voice option? Voice volume. There we go. That works. Oh, no, Christmas Duck. Here's the one I'm supposed. Why did I? The attic door's already unlocked. I didn't need that. Because I have all doors on. Anyway, the point that I was trying to say was, at some point when I was going in there to get the attic key, I started meandering about, rambling about how the secrets, about how they're not conspicuously labeled. So like, you can open this door from very far away. It'll let you know you can open that door. However, the panel over here, you have to get pretty up close, and you basically have to be intentionally searching for it to be able to be highlighted like that. So it does a good way of hiding that from a normal player instead of them just like running along the wall or just moving their cursor and being like, oh, what was that question mark that popped up? Oh, it's the ending to the game. It does a good job of hiding it. Even if you can open... If you do know that they exist, you can open them without getting the requisite notes beforehand like I just did with those things. But it's interesting that you can do that, but they do have a good way of hiding it, if I may say so myself. Anyway, we'll take Christmas Duck up here. There you go, Christmas Duck. Good old Christmas Duck. You can put him in this little nest up here. You know it's Christmas Duck's nest because it has a holly leaf on it. And basically, yeah, that's all there is. The only thing I think I want to mention is to get... Obviously, to complete the game, you have to get to the Letters of Katie, which is right over there. Or Letters to Katie, since the next achievement's called that. And for that achievement, you also have to... Since it says complete the game having found all 23 of Sam's journals, that means once you collect all the journals, you do need to come up here and get that last one. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have to open up this thing to activate it anyways, but you still gotta come over here and click this thing. I'm trying to... So this will be shown off next episode. Did this. So, yes. Alright, so that's all the regular achievements. So there's these achievements that I need to talk about before I actually do them. Complete the game in less than 1 minute with no modifiers enabled. So So obviously you can't have any modifiers on, not even have all lights on. So they're both speedrunning achievements. So what I think I'm going to do is, I think we want to cut those as... No. I think I can mash it all into one. I think that'll work. Because I think, no, this is about 20 minutes, I think, give or take. So I think what's going to happen right now is I'm going to end this episode of the regular, or because I'm not quite done yet. I still have some stuff to talk about. I think I'm going to show off these couple things and call this the first part of the bonus episode, and then next episode is just going to be the speedrunning stuff. And in those sections, I'll do post-commentary over it instead of live commentary because I can't speedrun and commentate at the same time. I don't think I can speedrun. It'll take me quite a couple attempts, which is why live commentary would be a horrible idea. Not to mention it would just make my playing worse. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to do post-commentary on those sections and talk about my general thoughts on the game as they're going on. About certain aspects of the narrative that I like or dislike, how the game handles certain things that I like or dislike, and basically just talk about those in post-commentary while the speedrunning stuff is going on screen. Sorry, you heard my chair there. And, well, now that I mentioned that, I can't cut it out, can I? But, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And then, so that will just be next episode. And then I might also just upload the both runs separately, just as small little videos without commentary. This doesn't really have much of a reason to exist without commentary since it needs some explanation. But those, since they're speedrunning, it might work well. Not like world record speedrunning, because people do that. They'll speedrun this game, like legitimately. But, yeah. So I think I'm just going to go around and mention some of the stuff, some miscellaneous stuff that I missed, so there's going to be a lot of cutting here and there, alright? Not right here, because this is one of the first things. So this poster right here, obviously is for 1982. That's different from the date downstairs that Rick was talking about. That's just a separate Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. Good taste, I'll say. But that's just a separate concert that he was talking about down here. Though curiously, he says that his girlfriend has bad taste in music, and that's dated to, he says, next weekend, and the concert's slated for February. However, he should really be saying his fiancée, because they're due to be married in June, as we could tell by the calendar over there. Yeah, February 23rd. So he's getting married to her in, like, a little over 3 months, but he still calls her his girlfriend, unless they got engaged and married really quickly, which seems unlikely, because wedding planning takes a while, from what I hear. It's usually about a year. So 3 months for all this stuff, yeah, unlikely. Yeah, the 4th of June. So about 3.5 months. So there's that. Let me figure out what else I gotta talk about. So one thing I should mention real quick, during the main series I alluded to the implication that Rick was trying to cheat on his girlfriend and Janice on hers. It's unconfirmed as to whether they actually did anything. I think the implication is that Rick was faithful, even if Janice was preparing to be unfaithful. Just a little something I wanted to address right there. Also, if you're playing the Switch version, fun fact, these Super Nintendo carts that you find lying around, they're actual Super Nintendo games, unlike these fake ones we have lying around here. These just seem like they could be real ones. Super Spitfire, that Bubsy clone down there, and Journey of Crystal. Those are the fake ones here, but in the Switch version, because this game is released on multiple consoles, including the Nintendo Switch, on the Switch version they are actual games. I don't know what all of them are, but I know, for example, one of these is Super Mario Kart. They're actual, real games. You can't play them, you can just look at them, but they're the box art for actual games. And a couple other things I have to say up here. What is this? Oh, that's part of her book. There was something else I was missing up here. Not that. No, put the board game back. There we go. This is what I wanted. This little plaque right here. You saw one of these for Caitlin in the basement, but I just glossed over this for Sam. She has one of these as well. And another couple things. Let's turn on this light. Oh, they turned off because of the Mitten thing. That's why. I was about to say, aren't the lights supposed to be on? But a couple things down here. There's this little brochure. There's a lot of stuff I missed in Sam's room. None of it important. There's just this little stuff. They explain that this is a reference to something, to like an old podcast that they did, or that they were fans of. Something like that. This is the one me and my dad are building. Want to go for a ride when it's done. So that's presumably from Lonnie. What's this over here? Oh, I remember that part. Isn't there something else around here? Growth Magazine? That's the Kurt Cobain one. So yeah, this is there's another one of these magazines here. This one's obviously about Kurt Cobain, how he died. Considering that was a pretty major shakeup in the music industry. And there's another thing. These are fake magazines, by the way, I found out. But another thing I want to mention right here. During the main series, you might have realized, because I found this magazine, you might have realized that I sounded a little weird when they mentioned Biohazard. That's because that is a real band. And fun fact about it, if you're wondering why Resident Evil is called Resident Evil in the West, but Biohazard in Japan, it's partially because of this band. When they were originally localizing the game, they couldn't use Biohazard. I think they couldn't do it in Europe because there was a old NES game called Biohazard, so they couldn't do that in Europe. And in America, this band was around at the time, and they especially weren't going to take the risk there of being conflated with the band, because that's major lawsuit potential, especially because they didn't quite think Resident Evil would do well at the time, so like, why would they take that risk for a game that was going to be unproven? Of course, Resident Evil ended up being a big success. In I'm a little mixed on the name change. On the one hand, Biohazard captures the series much better, because like, only some of the games take place in a mansion. There's usually evil involved, but only some of the games involve a residence. And it's mainly just an artifact from the mansion in the first game, which is why they chose the name Resident Evil. But on the other hand, Resident Evil is just such an iconic name. If someone mentions Biohazard outside of a gaming context, if someone's just on the street talking about Biohazard, you won't necessarily know exactly what they're referring to. It could be a number of things, as indicated by that. Aside from it being the name of several things, it's also just a generic term. It could be referring to an actual biohazard, like a virus spreading or whatever. Whereas, if you hear Resident Evil, there's not really any confusion about that, and it's just a much more iconic name than Biohazard is, in my opinion. It has the potential to be a much more iconic name. Plus, if it was never changed to Resident Evil, we wouldn't get those cool sound effects on the title cards of each game. So there is something right up here that I want to mention. I found out that this checklist Jen has right here, that's not it. Where is it? Personal calendar, weekly planner. That apparently this thing right here, sorry, I think you hear one of the neighbor's dogs barking. It'll be a while, so I'm just going to keep on talking over it and try and hope it goes down. The reason couples bowling and ballroom dancing keeps on getting crossed out, I didn't realize the subtext here. Apparently, that's because apparently these are supposed to be couples things, which is an extra. Obviously, couples bowling is, but the ballroom dancing also is, which I didn't pick up on. Apparently, that's an indication of their marriage declining, because I've seen some people suggest that this is sort of like Terry shutting down them trying to do stuff. She's trying to save it, have them do fun stuff as a couple, but Terry's just sort of shutting it down, though he still lets her go to a cooking class because that's a feminine thing to do. I'm not quite sure that the subtext is completely there, because if he's supposed to be like, oh, women need to do this stuff, there's not really any indication of that, especially because he's a stay-at-home dad, being a writer. He's not a breadwinner. Janice is. She's the one that travels. Especially because Terry's books were never successful in the first place. But, that's a subtext that some people read into that I thought I should mention. So right here. This, same story, Heaven at the Edge of the World, of course. Not this specific copy, it was just the closest one by. But, generally the whole thing about her story, it takes it carries a lot of same thematic elements to let me look at it. Slater-Kinney song? I might be mispronouncing that. But a Slater-Kinney song called The End of You, and that they both have very similar themes and ideas about them. And if you don't know who Slater-Kinney is, well, incidentally, they're the evolution of a band that is in this game, Heavens to Betsy. Apparently it evolved into Slater-Kinney, and it was not directly stated, it's just sort of figured out by fans, but Slater-Kinney, a lot of Sam's works on that share a lot of similar elements with the Slater-Kinney song, which is an interesting little reference. Now, here's something I want to mention. You'll notice that these shirts Sam has in her locker, they still have security tags on them, meaning she obviously stole them. And if you'll remember, there's a note on the front door of the house of Sam saying to tell the parents she's sorry. Of course, when you originally say that, you're supposed... because she doesn't say what she's supposed to tell mom and dad sorry for. I'll show it right here. Yes. I'm sorry I can't be there. Please don't go digging around trying to find out where I am. I don't want anyone to know. We'll see each other again someday. Don't be worried. I love you. There's at some point where she says, tell mom and dad sorry, but she doesn't explain what sorry is supposed to be for. The implication is, or what you're led to believe, is that she killed herself. But obviously that's not the case. That's what you're led to believe because of the vagueness. But in reality, what she's really saying sorry for is, well, you remember how Terry here, how this CD player is $1,000? Well, if we come in here, you can find the box right here. Has the label and everything. But there's no CD player, or a VCR for that matter. The implication is that when Sam ran off with Lonnie, she stole all this stuff. And I wanted to mention the tags out there because that's more evidence that it wasn't just a new thing. She specifically stole the expensive stuff to help pay for her escapades with Lonnie. But stealing isn't necessarily anything new from her if those tags are any indication. But she did steal very expensive equipment from her parents. That's a detail worth mentioning, in my opinion, and making sure people realize. Okay, so now this sewing table wants to activate. I don't know why it wasn't before, but sometimes it'll activate, sometimes it won't. I have no idea what causes this sewing table to be so sporadic about whether it wants to open up or not. There's something else odd that I want to mention, and there's no real explanation for it, but I do want to mention it. Yeah, that's the nunnery. And I still have the voices off, which is fine by me. Because it'll just be a little bit distracting. And is this getting Lonnie? Yes, that's getting Lonnie. So I need to get another note because that won't get entered into the journal until it's gone. There we go. So I want to show off the journal right here. So right here, you'll notice that this isn't a good sample size because I didn't bother to collect all the other journals, but you can see that generally, except for Mitten's special journal, which will always be last, the journals follow chronological order in terms of the game's plot line. However, and they except for Mitten's, of course, they follow the path that you're supposed to follow to collect all these is the same chronological order that they occur in, which is generally how it goes. Except for the nunnery and getting Lonnie. Even though, for purposes of the game, you are definitely supposed to getting Lonnie before the nunnery, because that sort of leads into the conflict Sam has with her parents, whereas that's sort of showing the stress. It's sort of capping off the basement down here about some of the separation Sam has from Lonnie, about like the hang-ups with her going to the military and everything. That sort of caps off the basement section, whereas that's beginning the East Wing section. But for some reason, the dates here don't quite match up. By don't match up, I mean they don't follow the order. I feel like they should be switched, because that's how the rest of the game goes. And they definitely intend for you to have getting Lonnie first, like I was saying. So it wasn't an issue of like them mislabeling it or anything. They might have mislabeled the dates, but it wasn't a situation of like, they're like, no, you're supposed to go through this area. Yeah, this area. No, you were supposed to go through this area up here and then continue on to the East Wing and then come back and get that note. It wasn't that at all. Why they chose to do that, or if it was just an accident, I have no idea. But it's just something I thought I'd bring up. Anyway, that should be all for this episode. Again, next time around it'll be the speedrunning episodes. So, see you guys then.